Well, I've had this oxygen acetylene bottle for quite some time. And there are smaller ones. And I've never really had a cart or anything. I've always just had them loose. And so I want to build a cart from an oxygen acetylene bottle, and also to store my hoses and my torch and accessories to my torch. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I went out to the scrapyard and I found this old hand cart, and I think it'll work just fine. I can put the bottles down there. Actually, I have two of these. This particular one I've had for about 30 years. And I have another one my brother-in-law gave to me. It's in much better shape. The only thing bad about this one is this wheel is really in bad shape. So I'm probably going to have to do something to replace that wheel. While I was out there, I also found a couple of pieces of pipe that I can weld to the bottom and set the bottles in. And this old metal toolbox that I think I can bolt that to that big rail on the back, and I could put my tools in there. Anyway, that's the plan. We'll see how it comes out. So what I discovered was that this smaller one, which I want to use for the acetylene bottle, the acetylene bottle will set in it, but it's real hard to get it in and out. So I'm going to cut it. There's like a dent right here, and I'm going to cut it right along there using my grinder cutter here. And free that up and spread it just a little bit, and then weld it down. Lucky, as soon as I cut it loose, it sprung open a little bit. I guess pipe's under a little bit of tension. That's what I've got. I may open it up another 1/4 inch or so and weld it to the base there. The big pipe is, I believe, is stainless. I could probably find some other uses for it other than this, but then again, that's what I've got. Okay, I can spread it using this pry bar. And then I can put a clamp on it, hopefully, and to hold it there for a little bit and get a tack on it. Okay, so I've got those two pipes welded down. I got the smaller one spread out enough. Ended up using a vice grip and a bar, and I spread it and clamped it and then welded it. Yeah, I know this is way bigger than it needs to be. I'll just put some pieces of wood in there to take up the slack. Now I've got to come up with a clamp that'll come through there and clamp on these two bottles. I found, rummaging around, this piece. So I think if I cut this, I can use it somehow, maybe into two pieces, and make my clamp to hold that down. Okay, so I need to make a clamping device because I want to clamp the bottles back to the rack. And I think I'm going to use that big angle and that piece of partially curved material, piece of bent all thread, a nut, a little piece of pipe, and a big washer. And I think I can make a clamp that will hold the bottles in place. If that won't work, I can always use chain too. Well, here's where I'm at. I've got the half round split and welded in. I've got the bar on the back welded in, and the all thread welded to it. I've got the nut welded to this, and I still have to weld a handle on this end. It's going to go on there like that. That's going to go on there like that. Push it against the bottles, and away we go. Well, my hand cart that I'm using for my torch cart, one of the tires wheels is in fair condition. I think I can fix it. But the other one is in really bad shape, as you can see. So I'm thinking the solution is to take this metal and cut it into 2 squares, and maybe cut it into a 8-sided hexagon, and then weld or screw that hexagon on here on both sides, and then drill a hole in the center. Find the center and drill a hole same size as that shaft, and run it through there, and just simply put a washer on each side and screw it down. And it's not carrying that much weight. I'm not going to be pushing it for miles, so that ought to work really well. That's what I'm going to try anyway. Okay, so this is what I've come up with. Now I need to fasten it down, and I'll use a square to find the center finder type thing. And then I'll just drill a hole the size of the shaft. Okay, here's where we're at. I'm kind of ashamed of this. This is pretty bad welding, but found the center of the wheel. Weld that plate on to take up the hole. Got a plate welded on the back side too. And now I'm going to drill straight through, 1/2-inch drill hole. And it'll get me by till I can find some more wheels. If ever. Well, there it is, mounted on the cart. Not real pretty. I'll paint it later. But looks to me like it'll work. Getting real close to getting it finished. I need to mount the box right up there next. Well, I've got it pretty much painted now, and everything's done. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. This is all stainless steel, as is this rod, so I'll never have to worry about it rusting up. You know, I'm an old salt miner, so I don't like the idea of dealing with rust. If you notice, the way this is designed, I can twist this down as far or as tight as I need it, and the rod just works its way out. I think that's a very good design. I think I've seen it somewhere else in either another product or another welder or something. Anyway, I can't take 100% credit for inventing this. But I think it's going to work really nice. The next time you'll see it, I'll have the torch installed, and the hoses will wrap around there, and torch and the tips and everything will be in the box. Okay, I've got it done. You can see the clamp right there, and the knob that I twist and lock down the clamp with. Just turn it. You can see the all thread coming out the end. That's by design. Yeah, I could have used a little smaller pipe on the oxygen, but I plan on getting a bigger oxygen bottle eventually, and I don't know how much bigger around it will be, but it works okay. As you can see, the oxygen bottle is a little bit tilted, but it's in there solid with the clamp. The hoses are wrapped around the support. Going to plug off the hoses on the end. And on the inside, I've got, of my toolbox, I've got all my tools. The torch, and I have a rosebud tip and 3 smaller torch tips, welding torch tips. 2 pairs of glasses. I really like these. They look like sunglasses, but they're not. They're torch glasses. They're my favorite ones because the other kind, this kind, makes my eyes sweat really bad. So there it is. All done. Took an old hand truck, very beat up old hand truck, fixed the wheels. I did end up doing the same thing for the other wheel, but it works really well. Well, I say that. There it goes. Just what I wanted. This makes my torch a lot more usable because I always kept it all in that big plastic box over there. So now it's always out, usable. At work, I had, we used a cutting torch exclusively almost. And so what we did was we cut a slot in here. So you just put the torch in and it just set in there like that. I may do the same thing with this, but for now, this is what I'm doing. All right, please share, subscribe, and like. Thanks a lot. The old salt miner.